Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
A woman mysteriously vanishes during a boat ride in the Bahamas, and her husband's story immediately raises red flags with investigators. A man known for playing Santa Claus at community events in Florida is arrested in an undercover child predator sting.
Plus, disturbing new developments in the d4Vd case, the latest on Anna Kepner's stepbrother turned killer, and Joshua Cannon. Remember him? He's finally been charged in the death of his children. We will break it all down for you on this week's headline highlights for the week of May 4th.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of Stop Who Does That? This is our pop-up headline highlights for the week of May 4th. I am so excited that we're doing this again. I'm your host, Jackie.
Host Jenna.
And we hope everyone is having a great week. I personally worked every day of the weekend, and it was horrendous. How about you, Jenna?
Well, I had a pretty good weekend. I did a lot with the kids, and yesterday we saw the Michael Jackson movie, and it was so good. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. It was amazing. Like, they just followed his whole life. It stopped in 1988, so they're definitely making a part 2 of the movie, but I highly recommend it to all of our listeners of all ages. I mean, he just was the GOAT. Like, he was so iconic. It was a great movie. Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to cover the cases of the molestation accusations.
They didn't get into that in this part of the movie. They did show how much he did for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and children in hospitals. He did donate from the accident in the Pepsi commercial. He donated every single last penny from the lawsuit to the burn unit of the hospital. So he was very generous. Just, poor Michael.
Yeah, he seemed like a very sweet, kind soul.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder what was also behind that, too. Like, he never had a chance to be a child.
Never. Yeah, it was sad. But it was good and sad and great music. So I highly recommend. And also, I recommend, if you are listening, to please give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, a rating and a review. We really appreciate them. It takes a few seconds of your time, and it means a lot to us.
Yes, we have a new review this week. It says, "Love a local podcast from Mrs. Saluch. It's so interesting hearing about local cases from other locals. One of my new favorite podcasts." Thank you so much.
Yay.
I know it's funny because when, we get into the true crime world and all the podcasts, it's like you want to hear about something local. Like, why isn't there someone that's doing local cases in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
And that turned into us, Jenna. That was us.
And sometimes you hear something and you're like, oh, that's from my state or that's from my hometown. We like to travel all over the country too, but we have our home base here in PA where we get a lot of recommendations for good cases.
Yes. And you know what's also interesting is once we put out a case, people come out of the woodwork and they're like,
Yeah.
well, I knew that person and I did this and did that with that family. And we're like, well, we wish we knew that.
I know.
Like, we wish we knew that before we did the episode.
Yeah.
But in the future, I think Jenna has a contact that actually has met some of the people we've covered. So we may have a guest in the future that can give us more insight on that. And then we do have a very, very special episode coming out later this month. And we are going to need all of your help in this case. It is a cold case, and we need to help the family get this case out there to the public, to get pressure on the police department to help move this case forward.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up too much, but if you're looking for a way to make a difference, because I know a lot of the times we're going over these stories and they're case closed, they were done a long time ago, but this is actually something active now that you can help us with. And I just want to get you thinking about that. So when it's go time, you can launch into action.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll need every listener's help on this very special project.
Yes, we're getting into headline highlights. And if this is your first time with us with headline highlights, we did them months ago. I think our last one was right when Nancy Guthrie went missing.
It was.
And she still hasn't been found, the poor woman. But we were doing headline highlights and a deep dive each week. I went back to work. We could only do one a week. So we kind of focused on local cases to do. And at the end of every headline highlights, we do something called Florida Man or Woman Google Roulette, where Jenna or we pick a random date off the top of our head, and then I share my screen or Jenna shares her screen, and we start Googling that date with the input Florida man or Florida woman. I got the idea from a meme that was going around on the internet where it said, Google your birthday and type in Florida man or Florida woman, and there's always a crazy case that comes out of it. So we're bringing it back, okay?
Yeah.
No shame to Florida, but maybe we'll get something in your neighborhood if you're listening. All right, Jenna, it's time to dive in. We shall. Let's get started with headline highlights.
Excited. We have a lot has been going on in the true crime world. So we have a lot to bring you. The first case, Jackie, have been following intently since it happened back on April 4th, which is actually 1 month ago. It's been 1 month. Michigan mom Lynette Hooker went missing in the Bahamas while on vacation with her husband, Brian. Like I said, it happened on April 4th. 55-year-old Lynette Hooker disappeared while returning to her yacht with her husband, Brian Hooker, near Hopetown on Elbow Cay in the Bahamas. The couple had gone to dinner that evening and were traveling back to the anchored yacht in a small 8-foot dinghy around sunset when something allegedly went terribly wrong. According to Brian, Lynette accidentally fell overboard during rough conditions. He claimed she had the keys to the dinghy's engine in her possession when she fell into the water, leaving him unable to restart the boat. Brian said he attempted to rescue her by throwing a flotation device and calling out to her, but strong winds, darkness, and rough waves caused her to disappear from sight. Brian eventually drifted for hours before paddling the dinghy roughly 4 miles to shore, arriving on a neighboring island about 8 hours later. So, he was out there for most of the night after this alleged accident happened. In audio later published by CBS News, Brian described the incident by saying, Net, quote, basically just bounced off the boat. He emphasized how difficult it was to see someone in rough waters, stating, it's amazing how small a person is in 2 to 3 footers and 25-knot winds. Jackie, when I first heard this story, it's like screaming,
red flags
and husband, allegedly this is what he says, but we've heard stories like this before. It just made me think of Natalie Holloway, because of the whole Aruba, and this is the Bahamas, you just go missing. So basically, like we're saying, almost immediately, the circumstances surrounding Lynette's disappearance raised suspicion among both investigators and Lynette's loved ones. Authorities in the Bahamas, they did detain Brian for questioning on April 8th, and he was released 5 days later with no charges, though police continued to consider him a person of interest in the case. He just completely left the Bahamas. So I also thought that was very red flaggy, because if your wife is still missing, why would you leave?
Right.
So I thought
that feels like I need to get the hell out of Dodge type move. I need to get out of here before they arrest me again. And I don't know if there's extradition from the Bahamas and the US, but
it seems like he skipped town pretty quickly. And Brian's attorney defended him, stating investigators had no evidence tying him to a crime and expressing confidence in the legal process. But despite that, the case remains under active investigation. Like we said, it's been 30 days that she's missing. Not been found. The U.S. Coast Guard has reportedly launched its own criminal investigation into Lynette's disappearance. And Lynette's daughter, Carly, has been coming out publicly to talk about her mom and Brian's relationship. And it's through these statements by Carly that we're learning about problems they had had for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
In 2005, in fact, Brian was arrested after he was accused of choking his own biological daughter, then a minor. This was not Lynette's daughter. This was a daughter from another relationship. Court records show he was found not guilty on that charge. Carly says the dispute originated over textbooks' mention of religion, which incensed Brian, who is an atheist. And that,
why would you strangle your daughter over that?
yeah, I mean, if you can do that to your own daughter,
over a what?
Like,
what
imagine what else you're capable of. So
Mm.
this is the kind of person Lynette's husband, Brian, is. And a decade later, Carly said she witnessed Brian choke her mom, that he and Lynette, they were both intoxicated, accused each other of assault, according to a police report, which states officers saw Brian's nose bleeding, but no visible injury on Lynette. She spent the night in jail. Neither was charged. So they kind of have this like history of domestic violence in the relationship leading up to this point. And as investigations into Lynette's disappearance continue, one thing everyone agrees on is this: the one person who saw what happened to her is her husband, Brian. Since being taken into custody and then later released, Brian appeared completely heartbroken, says his lawyer, but appearances can be deceiving, says Lynette's family. So Lynette's family, they know the real Brian. They've seen what he's capable of. And that's why Carly is getting out there and like making sure everyone knows what kind of a person Brian Hooker really is. So Carly spent a long weekend with Lynette and Brian on their boat, the Soulmate, in late February. And she said it was fun. It was great to see another country. Carly is going back and forth to the Bahamas as she can to be an advocate for her missing mom. But when they did this like long weekend back in February, she said, well, my mom did complain about how he gets when he drinks. Whenever they started to have an argument, they would talk about something else in front of me. My mom didn't want to show that they were having problems. Carly also did a really good interview with Nancy Grace at the end of April that I listened to. If you guys have a chance to listen to it and want to hear what she has to say in detail, that's on Nancy Grace's podcast. Lynette Hooker has not been found as of this recording, and Brian has not been charged with anything. So the mystery continues, Jackie.
So my initial thoughts are it's his word against Lynette, but we don't have a Lynette.
Yeah.
We may never have a Lynette, a body, right? To prove or disprove anything he's saying.
There was video footage of them that evening having a drink by the pool around, I believe it was 7 or 7:30 p.m. And they did interview the bartender that served them a few cocktails. And he was the last person besides Brian to see them. And he said they were by the pool. There's security cam footage of them sitting by the pool before they get up to go on the boat. So, yeah, it's just...
And everything seemed fine?
Yeah, the bartender said everything.
But Lynette did say he gets a certain way when he drinks. What was she doing with the key to the engine in her pocket?
Right.
Because usually, not to be sexist or whatever, and not to think that she can't operate a boat, but usually men like to take control of the boat.
I wonder if she did it for her own safety or something. And Carly was asking...
Maybe she took it from him.
Well, he was probably drunk.
Yeah, like driving the dinghy like a nutcase. And she took it from him, and then there was a fight over it, and she went overboard. Because he wasn't lying about not having the key.
Right, because that was proven correct, because he literally drifted for hours.
He had to drift it, and paddled back.
But
what was she doing with the key? Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, Jackie. I could see her say, you can't drive this, you're drunk, them getting in an altercation. We know he's already had a history of violence. Maybe there was some physical
proven track record
stuff going on, and she did fall into the water, and it was dark.
Maybe it was an accident, right? Like, let's just give him the B of the D here. Maybe they were just like, he was like, give me back the key. She's like, no, blah, 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 blah. Maybe she tripped over something and fell overboard, and he knows how it looks.
Yeah.
But then also, could the Coast Guard go back and see what the water conditions were like? Or
Yeah,
the
they
I
did.
don't know how that works, but
So Carly talks about that on her interview with Nancy Grace. They did go back and look that up. And what I remember from the interview was that Carly said the waters were calm and they were not that deep.
choppy. Yeah.
And she said because the waters were calm and it was not that deep, he easily could have stepped off the dinghy and
Oh.
looked for her. Like it was not that
It
deep.
was shallow.
Yeah, it was enough that he could have stood, is what Carly said.
Wow. So that changes things a bit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, if it was that shallow and calm, why didn't her body wash up yet?
That is weird. That was
Yeah.
my next thought is, well, then why is it so hard to find her?
Yeah.
Unless he went out farther,
Then what he's saying.
dumped her there. I don't.
And there is
This is
GPS
weird.
tracking on boats. There is.
Yeah.
I think that they are definitely investigating him right now, and they're kind of probably gathering up all the material and evidence that they need, is what I think they're probably doing behind the scenes.
It's just going to be really hard to prove this one. So I know people are going to be mad, like, why hasn't he been arrested yet? But at the same time, you can't arrest somebody unless it's like pretty airtight, right? And right now, it's just like his word against the abyss, pretty much. Like,
so we'll keep watching this, and see what happens. And if they do announce an arrest, we'll keep our eyes on this story.
Yes. Well, our next case, Jenna, why do you give me the ones that are so depressing? I swear, Jenna's our scriptwriter. I swear she gives me all the ones that are.
I thought you would really like this one because of the Florida aspect and horrible, nightmarish, story.
All right. Well, trigger warning, it involves children. Okay. So our next case is something made of nightmares, especially for anyone who is a parent of small children, which I guess mine are still small. A popular Santa Claus from Florida, yes, Florida, was arrested on an undercover child sex sting. A Florida man known for playing Santa Claus at community events is among 19 men who were arrested during an undercover child sex sting this week, according to investigators. The multi-day joint agency undercover operation was led by the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Wait, is that our favorite sheriff?
Yeah, Sheriff Grady.
Yes,
He's
Sheriff
on the
Grady.
case. He is on the case. Yep.
Yes, Sheriff Grady's office, and was dubbed Operation Child Protector 8. It focused on people who prey upon and travel to meet children for unlawful sexual activity, according to information provided by the sheriff's office. Quote, "It never ceases to amaze us how many suspects travel to have sex with who they believe are children, especially here in Polk County, where we proactively investigate and arrest those who prey on children." Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said, "Speaking of which, we even arrested Santa Claus during this operation." I agree, Grady Judd. Every time we have cases like this come out, Jenna, I'm like terrified of the number of people that do this to children.
Yeah, and that are so
some are just normal
about
people.
It. Yeah,
and their dads and their husbands and
like this guy,
guy,
the freaking Santa Claus. You're like, please tell me that a Santa Claus impersonator would never be one of these sickos. And here it is that he actually is.
If you can think it, it's probably happened. That's the sad part. All right. Thomas Hicks, 68 years old, of Lakeland, located between Tampa and Orlando along Interstate 4, was arrested after investigators said he sent social media messages to an undercover investigator. So that's just making me think To Catch a Predator, posing as the father of a 13-year-old girl. Authorities say Hicks told the undercover agent he would pay $200 to have sex with the girl. Okay, so whoa. I need to back up here. So we've got an undercover cop pretending to be the father of a teenage girl trying to sell his daughter for sex.
I know, that's even worse.
And this Thomas Hicks guy, the Santa Claus perv, is not even batting an eyelash. Does this mean this happened more than we think it does?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't even know.
Hicks, who Judd said had been working in marketing for Tri-County Behavioral Health, a mental health and drug rehab facility in Polk County. So this guy works in the mental health industry.
For the county.
Was also a popular Santa Claus who performed many community events over the years, including the Lakeland Christmas Parade in Central Florida. The Polk County Sheriff also said that he was a well-regarded member of the community. Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Here's the kicker, guys. Quote, thousands and thousands and thousands of children have sat on this guy's lap thinking he was Santa Claus when in fact he was a child sex predator, Sheriff Judd said at a news conference. I am shooketh.
Yeah, I can't. That is like your worst nightmare. And as a parent, that thought goes through your head. Like when you're taking your kids to see Santa, you're like, ha ha ha.
I actually never have. I never have. We don't do that. We don't do the Easter Bunny. Not because of that. I just never have been into it, but I'm so glad I haven't.
Well, I can tell you, I'm sure I'm not the only one who think this, but like when my kids were little and we would take them to see Santa, I'd be like, ha ha ha, like I hope this guy is not a sicko. Like you do think that in the back of your head because, of what you just stated. Thousands and thousands and thousands of children are sitting on the Santa's lap. Honestly, I don't even know if this should be a thing anymore. Like,
now that you mention it,
I really don't I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
I think it's like with all the sickos out there and child predators, I feel like just get rid of sitting on the lap part of the Santa visit. We don't need it.
Makes you wonder, when did that start? It had to have been 50 plus years ago of sitting on Santa's lap.
Probably like the 1940s. We'll have to look into it.
But think about it. This is a perfect way for a pedo to get close to children. Oh my God. What if that's the whole intent? Like that's why it started 50 years ago. And it's like a ring of all these guys that dress up like Santa. Oh my God. I can't. You're right. We need to get rid of it. No judgment to anyone out there still doing it. But now we need to stop.
Not necessary. You can stand next to Santa and whisper.
Exactly. You don't need to have the kid on your lap.
Yeah. No more. Maybe we could start a petition to get rid of this.
You can stand next to the kids. You don't need to sit on their you don't need the kid to sit on your freaking lap.
No.
Okay. Wow. All right. Let's start a movement. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
No more sitting on the lap. Yeah. Investigators said that Hicks was, quote, explicit in describing the sex acts he wanted to perform on the child, but said that he would be a gentle person. Also, detectives said Hicks told them he's been married for over 50 years, 50, but he regularly goes on to known prostitution sites to find sex workers or companions. He faces charges of human trafficking, traveling to meet a minor, use of a computer to seduce a child, and the use of two-way communication devices to commit a felony. The operation also arrested 18 other men from over Polk County between the ages of 18 to 68, most of which who were also married. I'm floored. 18 to 68. This is anybody.
This was a huge operation. I thank them for their service on this one. I mean, they definitely got a good chunk. I don't think they got nearly as many of them that are doing it in the state, but good work. Good investigative work.
The sad part is, Jenna, it's a revolving door. They said this was project number 8 of doing Operation Child Protector 8, version 8. It's everywhere. And, To Catch a Predator, we grew up with To Catch a Predator. How old were we when that came out? We were
probably kids, elementary school.
Maybe a little older, maybe a teen or early 20s, I feel like. And that was really the first time you realize, shit, it could be anybody. Right? And these guys show up to these houses and Chris Hansen confronts them. And it's like they try to back out of it. They're like, oh, I never said that. Or I was just joking around. And it's
I didn't mean it.
Yeah. And then he'll read it word for word and be like, nope, this is what you said in the instant message, which, by the way, we grew up with instant messenger, AIM, and we probably talked to pedos and didn't even realize it. But I always had the wherewithal to be like, I don't talk to anyone I don't know online
Yeah.
and not give out information. But there's some people I'm finding out as we've gotten older. They're like, oh, yeah, I used to like say all kinds of weird stuff to these people, like not
Yeah.
even meaning it. But
Right.
then there's kids that actually do want to meet these guys.
Oh, God, it's really disturbing. And like you said, it's so far more reaching than just this operation. I mean, and they're in every state, dozens of them. Oh God, it's sick.
I mean, you have boys, I have a daughter, and it's always in the back of my mind. She just
It's
doesn't
scary.
understand
It's
either.
so
Like, right,
scary.
she's so innocent. And I don't know, parents out there, like, you can have a conversation about this, but it's like, how much do you tell your kid between the especially girls, right? Between the ages of like 8 and 10
Mhm.
about what's out there because you don't want to scare them, but at the same time,
They need to know. They need to know the
yeah,
truth, and to always look out, for themselves and don't ever trust anyone. I
yeah,
mean, any adult, that's for sure. That's like not your teacher.
right.
Well, there's even teacher predators. I don't know, Jackie. I think it's trust no one.
Pretty much. All right. Well, Jenna, speaking of child predation, I don't
Yeah.
know if I said that right, but we have another one, David or D.
Yeah. So David, d4Vd, otherwise known as David Anthony Burke, we covered him on our very first headline highlights back in
Yes.
November. This was one of the stories that we first started covering, and believe it or not, it's literally still going on.
But it played out the exact way we thought it would.
It did. It just
He
took its
finally
time.
got
Yeah.
arrested.
So
Yeah.
we covered it, back in November. In September of last year, September 2025, just to recap, the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found in the trunk of David's Tesla. It was very badly decomposed, and it has been an ongoing investigation forward. So the body was found in September, but the last time Celeste was seen alive was April. So that's a good 6 months later that her body was found decomposed in the trunk. Investigators found several suspicious purchases connected to David Anthony Burke's home. These are the latest breaking updates in this case. Allegedly, he made these purchases under the alias. Those purchases included a shovel on April 24th, 2 chainsaws on May 1st, and an inflatable pool on May 5th, and a burn cage on July 7th.
Yeah.
We talked about that last year. Yeah, these purchases were all made a year ago, right after she was seen alive. We did talk about the burn cage. They said it wasn't used. They found it unused, but shovel, chainsaws, inflatable pool. I think he's just missing a couple tarps and blue barrels, and he has the whole murder kit right there.
Oh my God.
Investigators also say LAPD experts found DNA evidence matching Celeste Rivas Hernandez inside Burke's garage, which is obviously a major development. In this case, now they're connecting the DNA evidence. They've been working very hard and very detailed on this case. Prosecutors have now laid out a chilling timeline of what they believe happened the night Celeste was murdered. According to investigators, on the night of April 23rd, 2025, David Anthony Burke ordered an Uber for Celeste around 8 p.m. Ride records show she arrived at Burke's home at 10:10 p.m. Prosecutors believe shortly after arriving, Celeste was stabbed multiple times inside the home. Then came one of the most disturbing details. Around 10:30 p.m., while prosecutors believe Celeste was likely already dead, allegedly began sending texts to her phone asking, "Where are you?" Which we've seen this in many cases.
Yes.
The landscaping murder case and Anna Machieska, where the spouse or the partner is sending texts or taking their phone, just trying to make it seem like they're still alive. We've seen this before.
Well, and also, is he dumb? Because if he ordered an Uber for her, it shows when somebody gets dropped off.
Yeah.
And where. I mean, Uber's pretty detailed.
Yeah, it's not like he sent one of his minions to go pick her up where there was no
Which has no track record.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I would think of that. Like, I'm not a killer, but if I was in this position, Jackie, I wouldn't send for a freaking Uber that has GPS tracking and everything's recorded. So he's
again, we're glad he's dumb. We're glad he's dumb.
Yeah. So investigators believe the messages, like we said, were created to create this appearance that Celeste was alive and missing and not answering him back. Later on the same night, authorities tracked Burke's Tesla traveling to an isolated area in Santa Barbara County where prosecutors believe he dumped Celeste's belongings. David Anthony Burke was finally arrested and charged with Celeste's murder on April 20th, just last month. His preliminary hearing was supposed to take place just a few days ago on May 1st, but it's now been moved to May 20th. So we will keep our eye on that. Finally, that will be happening. He's arrested. There was no bail in his case. He could not get out on bond. He's in jail, and the preliminary hearing is May 20th.
So a couple things here. I think it's so poetic that he's arrested almost on the exact day to the year of her murder, number one. Number two, I mean, the timeline of him like buying the shovel and things, it all lines up to April 23rd. And then there's also, I think I sent you, there was a video like where David, he does like Instagram lives, and there's a video of his friends hanging out with him, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry about the smell.
I saw that. Yeah, you sent that. And
yeah.
There also was, so he went on a tour right after she was murdered. He like went on a tour, and his songs that he was using in the tour was her recorded voice was like opening his songs. Like it's just some fucked up shit going on here. I definitely believe they were in a relationship. You know, he knew she was 14. That's too young for a 21-year-old man, or however old. I think he's 21.
Yeah.
He knew he would get in trouble for that. There was reports, and I don't know if it's confirmed, but there was reports that her finger had a tattoo d4Vd, and her finger was missing when they found her body.
And there's rumors that she was pregnant.
Yeah, there's rumors, and there's no way to tell because her body was so badly decomposed. So,
but that would be, I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, like, what was the impetus for this? Like, what made him do this to her, this poor innocent girl? And I mean, that would be the reason, right? Because there's proof now he has been having a sexual relationship with her, and it wouldn't look good, right?
Correct.
So,
motive.
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes on that. But big updates on that David case we wanted to share. Yep.
Another one that we've been following since day one was Anna Kepner. She's that 18-year-old cheerleader that was found dead on a Carnival cruise on November 7th of 2025. She was on the cruise with her father, stepmother, and step-siblings. Investigators immediately suspected foul play, and her 16-year-old stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, was arrested and charged with her murder last month. Her body was found concealed under one of the beds by life jackets in a room she was sharing with the stepbrothers aboard that cruise. And we've always pointed out, what the heck was she doing sleeping in the same room with her stepbrothers? Her cause of death was homicide by strangulation during a sexual assault. Timothy Hudson's trial on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse will start June 1st in Miami. The 16-year-old was initially charged as a juvenile before the case was transferred to adult court. He entered a written plea of not guilty last week. Minors are rarely prosecuted in federal court, and as we know from the Jamie Silvana case, they can be tried as adults given the severity of the crime. And in this case, it was very severe and disturbing. She was found underneath the bed and was sexually assaulted.
And a lot of people, Jackie, are saying her father should be prosecuted for letting her share a room with her stepbrothers. A lot of people are saying that that's wrong. I mean, why would you do that?
I think it's so inappropriate. Is it illegal? No. Were they trying to save money? Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like the father's probably already hurting that. I don't know that I would go that far.
I don't know if I would go that far either.
Yeah.
In hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she never admit. She was telling her boyfriend and stuff about.
That's the thing.
Maybe she never told her dad about the stuff the stepbrother was creeping her out with. Girls and their dads don't always have that close relationship. So I don't know. And then we did read, Jackie, that he's not going to go to the trial.
Really?
Yeah. That he's publicly stated he doesn't want to relive that night. He doesn't want to hear about it.
The dad. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I did hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, how could Timothy not go to?"
Yeah, no, no. The dad and I believe Timothy's mother are not
Yeah.
going.
They don't wanna hear it, yeah.
And I get that, but I feel like you also need to be a voice for Anna. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't have any. You're her voice. You're her father. I just feel like you have to be there for her to support her. She's not here to defend herself or anything. So I get both sides, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do in
Yeah.
that situation.
Unless they feel the way, like, Ethan Chapin's family does, where they were
Yeah,
like they didn't go
yeah,
to any of the Kohlberger
yeah.
hearings or nothing because 'cause they're like, "It's not gonna change anything,"
Yeah, and it's
and they're
too disturbing and
yeah,
upsetting. I totally get
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Um, and they're like, "What good does it do?" They're like, "It doesn't bring him back," and they knew Brian Koberger was a waste of space anyway,
Yeah.
so
So, well, June 1st is right around the corner, so we'll
yeah.
definitely be posting updates about that trial. And although he's a minor, so I'm not sure how much they'll share with the public, but
Mhm.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
All right. Finally, last one before Florida Man. We also want to briefly share that Wisconsin father Joshua Cannon has finally been charged in the deaths of his 3 children from the fire that took place back on Thanksgiving Day in 2025. We did cover this at the time and we were shocked he had not been charged. So to recap, on Thanksgiving night, his townhome caught on fire and he ran out, leaving all 3 of his children inside. They all succumbed to smoke inhalation and passed away. Instead of getting his children out safely, he got himself out and ran to the neighbor's house.
Hmm.
Like a scared little Sim. You ever play The Sims
Yeah.
and you start a fire in the house?
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of like, I get this mental image of him like freaking out and running out and like not even thinking, like, oh, I have children in there. But he's getting charged with child neglect, 3 counts of child neglect with consequence of deaths.
Mhm.
It sounds to me like they don't think he intentionally did this, but this is
Mhm.
still child neglect to
Yeah.
not ensure their safety at
Hmm.
all.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he's due back in court on May 14th, which is coming up in about
Yeah.
10 days.
Yeah,
So,
so lots coming up. Lots of court trials and updates we'll,
yeah.
keep posting everybody on, and we'll probably try to incorporate, headline highlights when there are a lot of news cases like this that we want to share updates on.
Oh, there's so much more we
Yeah,
want to talk about, but we don't have
I
the
know.
time.
I
I do
know.
want to say, I do want to talk about the NASA scientists that have gone missing,
Yeah.
and we don't have time today to go into detail. We might make a deep dive about it, but if you all have a chance, I want you to look up YouTube footage of Amy Eskridge. That's Eskridge. She did an interview on the internet. It's kind of going viral. Her talking about aliens and anti-gravity stuff. And I'm not somebody that's like into aliens or anything, but she's got the credentials here. And she works with the government or worked with the government
Yes, she was
and
brilliant.
would know what she's talking about. And I can't decipher for the life of me, Jenna, because she's drinking beer in this interview and eating her dinner. She's just like living life, right? And I can't tell if what she's saying is because she might be a little off her rocker, or she sounds like she's off her rocker because what she's saying is real and it's just
Mhm.
that so far-fetched that your mind can't wrap around it, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what fascinates me is the mental gymnastics you go to as you're listening to her talk about this. And like I said, she's fully credentialed. She worked for the government. She
Mhm.
grew up in it. One of her best friends was a former British intelligence analyst who was interviewed on Nancy Grace. He was the
Mhm.
last person to talk to her before
Mhm.
before she supposedly unalived herself, but we
Yeah.
really don't believe that's what happened. And that kind of kicked off this string of NASA scientists, a lot of which were in Albuquerque
Yeah.
or in New Mexico, which we
Mhm.
know is corrupt.
Mhm.
So yeah, read up on it. Read up on
Yeah.
it and take a listen to her because it's very fascinating. And that's just my quick little plug for it since I can't
Yeah,
get into a
thank
lot of
you,
detail today.
Jackie. Yeah, and if you guys want us to do a deep dive looking into more, or sharing some videos or just talking about it, let us know. We can definitely do that.
Yeah, leave a comment on
Mhm.
our YouTube or on Instagram or send us a DM, whatever you want. But if you want us to go into more detail and you want to know more but just don't have the time, we can do that for you.
Mhm.
All right, it is time
Okay.
for Florida Man
Oh.
Roulette. Woo! I missed it. I
Okay.
missed it so much. Okay. All right. Let me pull up my Google.
All right. I'm thinking of a good date, and I'm going to go June 9th.
Oh, wait. Oh, but naked Florida man accused of bizarre crime spree that included trying to kiss elderly woman. Oh, here we go.
Okay. That's a good one.
All right. Suspect racks up 19 charges in less than an hour. This is June 9th, 2020.
Holy shit.
Escambia County, Florida. A Florida man's crime spree started with him exposing himself at a flea market, then stripping naked, stealing a car, and committing various other criminal acts before he was arrested less than an hour later. Deputies said the first call they received about 23-year-old LaHorace Pickett came in about 11:15 a.m. Wednesday. 11:15 in the morning on a Wednesday. What is this guy doing? Like, what is he on?
God.
It came from a diner inside T&W Flea Market in Pensacola, where witnesses reported Pickett jumped on a coin machine while kicking and punching it, and then went to the ground where he exposed himself and started screaming, "Call the cops! The dead are rising!"
Oh,
From there, he jumped on a customer's shoulders and attacked a worker who was behind the counter, grabbing her, then punching her when she pushed him away. Then deputies said he was chased out of the diner, went to the parking lot, stripped naked, and stole someone's Chevrolet Sonic. So wait, he got naked, must have put his clothes back on, then went back outside stripped naked and stole someone's car. And then along with his clothes, Pickett also left behind a bag containing a pistol. Oh, he had a gun. Around 11 a.m., so this wasn't much longer. A call came in from an elderly woman who lives a few blocks away who said Pickett approached her in this stolen car, grabbed her hair and tried to kiss her, then picked up a piece of concrete and threatened to kill her.
Oh my God, he's nuts. He's like all over the place here. Okay, LaHorace.
What? Was he on like bath salts or meth?
Yeah. Wow.
Then Pickett tried to break into an, oh my God, this doesn't end. He tried to break into an RV on the property and then throwing a brick during a confrontation with the man who lives inside, injuring the victim. When authorities arrived on the scene, Pickett tried to run, but he was found in the bed of a truck. The backpack he left in the RV, oh my God, he's just leaving shit behind. The backpack he left in the RV during the incident there contained a throwing star. What's a throwing star? Handgun ammunition and a bag of synthetic marijuana. I doubt it was all the synthetic marijuana.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then just before noon, a third report came in after Pickett was already in custody. Residents in that area said Pickett ripped a mailbox from the ground, broke into a home, broke a TV, and he was wearing a green house coat at that time. During the incident, he yelled, "Expletive, come on out. I know you're in there." He probably said like fucker or something.
What? He's like, I'm just like picturing the Tasmanian devil just like rolling around.
This just didn't end. So he was arrested on 19 charges, 2 counts of criminal mischief with property damage, burglary, driving with a suspended or revoked license, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, battery on a person older than 65 years, using or displaying a weapon during the commission of a felony, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, burglary with an assault or battery, resisting an officer without violence, possessing a synthetic cannabinoid, possession of drug equipment, engaging in criminal offenses with a weapon, possession of a concealed weapon by a convicted felon. We already saw that one. Exposure of sexual organs.
Oh, there it is.
Grand theft motor vehicle. And finally, disturbing the peace. Wow, that was a lot to take.
Wow, that must be some kind of record in that county. Like,
he better still be in jail. Well, here's the
Okay.
the
Well,
picture of
that-
him, and like, he doesn't look that high, right?
I mean, I'm just picturing him wearing that green house coat.
Well, it looks like he's wearing something green there.
True.
I don't know. He doesn't. I
Wow,
mean, I've seen worse.
he accomplished a lot
But-
in 1 hour. An hour of crime.
Well,
Crime
June 9th,
hour.
that was a good one.
Yeah, June
That was
9th.
a good
Okay,
one.
great. Yeah, thank you, Florida.
Thank you. You
Well, we
know,
hope
I was
everyone
looking at
enjoyed.
our listeners, and our top listeners come from Pennsylvania, which is obvious.
Yeah,
And then the second highest is Florida.
I
So
know. Yeah.
I just want to
Thank you
give a
so
shout
much.
out to your mom and
Yeah.
dad for getting us
Yeah,
out there
they-
to their friends down there.
Yeah, they've been doing the groundwork, getting a lot of listeners, their friends and people in their community and places they go. They just run into people and they share about it. And, we love it. So if you guys like our podcast too, just share with your friends and family and, everybody will enjoy it.
It means a lot to us. And, the whole point of building a big network and a community here is so that when our episode comes out later this month, where we're asking for your help, we have you guys as our arsenal to help families get the help they need to solve their loved ones' cases. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not about us. It's not about a popularity contest. It's about building a base here. And that way we can use our platform to help families of victims.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this pop-up headline
Oh,
highlights as much
I
as
missed
we did.
this so much.
know.
I love the variety that we get
Yeah.
to talk about. And
Yeah.
that's the essence of Stop Who Does That. We pick the
Yeah.
cases that make you go, stop, who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
Horace, why? Why did you do that?
Well, all right.
All right,
see you
until
guys
next time.